Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios, once again with another One Piece chapter summary. This week's chapter is chapter 1100, Thank You Bonnie. And as soon as I read the title I thought, okay, well with a title like that, I'm sure only good things could happen today. So, let's start with the artwork. We got Sanji chopping vegetables, and Usopp's with him. Usopp, seeing the vegetables, remembers carrot, pepper, and onion, the three boys that lived in his village. What I really like here is Oda's attention to detail on Usopp remembering what these three boys looked like pre-time skip. Because remember, Usopp hasn't actually seen them in over 2 years because he, set sail, the Grand Line, got shot to an island of killer plants, and all that good stuff. But it's just a nice little attention to detail on that they look very different from what Usopp remembers. Going into the chapter itself, we start off on Egghead with Borsalino there saying, "Whew, wow, it is cold on this island," which is, it's a lot different from that Punk Hazard place you were working at with Caesar. And yeah, for now it will be not as cold as Egghead, which it's really funny when you think about it, because Punk Hazard went from being a normal island to a gaseous wasteland to a frozen, fiery Hailfire Peak style island. Egghead, on the other hand, went from being a solid winter island to a very temperate zone, which probably explains the crazy winter weather that happens all around the island. But on that island itself, Vegapunk figured out what he originally wanted to do on his home island, a way to turn a winter island into a summer paradise. While it's not a super important detail, I do like that standing outside of the base, we also see a young Zephyr, which is the main antagonist of One Piece Film Z. This was him when he was just a Navy instructor, because he used to be an admiral, then he became an instructor after, certain events happened.
Yeah, so I was looking through the wiki and I noticed a lot of people are pointing out that this is actually Diaz Drake, so I'm not exactly sure. I thought it was Zephyr. It looks a lot like him, but yeah, it does look like a lot like Diaz Drake as well. So I do apologize. I do think it's really cool that Shiki got put in as a canonical character, but I don't know. Maybe we'll see Zephyr later. It does make the timeline make a little more sense, though.
So why is Borsalino here, you ask? Well, unfortunately, Vegapunk has an incredibly high intelligence score. Absolutely amazingly high. We're talking on a scale of 1 to 20, which is the D&D scale I use. Vegapunk is a 38 in intelligence. But Vegapunk's wisdom, and by extension his perception, is not super high. And he didn't notice the radio transponder snails all over the place, keeping an eye on him and making sure he doesn't do things like consorting with pirates and promising to make clone armies of them in exchange for curing their daughters of deadly diseases. Naturally, Saturn is not happy because the Buccaneer is here and Vegapunk wants to make him the face of the Navy's greatest weapon. But that's okay. If he really wants this to happen, we'll let it slide on 3 conditions. Condition number 1. Bartholomew Kuma, you become a warlord of the sea. Bartholomew Kuma the Tyrant, a terrifying paw-paw man who destroys his enemies with giant bubbles. This is really helpful to us because one of our 7 warlords got his butt handed to him by a young upcoming pirate named Ace. Currently, timeline-wise, we're maybe like a little before Ace left. So Ace left, the Goa, or not left, just left the Goa Kingdom. So we're getting really close to, this is actually probably the closest flashback we've had to the main timeline. We're kind of blurring the line between when a flashback takes place. By definition, yes, this is a flashback. By story timeline wise, this is starting to become, instead of solid black background, this is becoming solid gray background, where it's like, yeah, it happened in the past, but it still happened after Luffy set out. Anyways, the important thing here to mention is that Ace took out a warlord and they need one replaced. Kuma's okay with that. Number 2, you allow us to augment your already impressive buccaneer body to become a cyborg, allowing us to, giving you huge enhancements like lasers and paw beams and I don't know what else we got in you. Rocket launcher probably, maybe a chain right arm that shoots out and a left one where your fingers turn into guns. I'm thinking of someone else. But you use all these really cool things and we'll, make that rule number 2. Rule number 3, you're going to become a very powerful weapon for us. And as a result, you're going to be a very big threat if you turn against us, Mr. Former Revolutionary. So, rule number 3, you have to get rid of your free will. Vegapunk will just cut that part of your brain out that says, no, I can't do that, and we will effectively kill you and turn you into a robot. Vegapunk is super against this. Major points to him. Vegapunk's morality, while he is really big on, you can't let little silly things like, could this be used as a weapon, get in the way of great science and advancement, he is seriously against, hey, if you take a cyborg and you remove the human parts, you're killing him, and I don't want to kill people. But as Vegapunk is berating Saturn about this, Kuma says, I'll do it. Because honestly, with these 3, he said, we've got 3 stipulations, and the only thing on Kuma's mind was, are any of these 3 things something that can't be done? And Saturn said, rule number 1, become a warlord. Kuma's like, done. I already want to stop pirates. Pirates are bad people. Okay, rule number 2, become a cyborg. Oh, that's great, because then the big enhancements will make it really easy to keep the world safe for Bonnie. Rule number 3, give away your free will so that Bonnie can be set free. That's easy too. What good is my free will if I can't use it to save my daughter from a deadly disease? So, these are all very fair trades. Vegapunk, let's get started. The process to heal the sapphire scales off Bonnie will take 6 months, followed by an extra year of monitoring and making sure she stays inside so that symptoms don't re-arise or, the sickness doesn't come back. The process to turn Kuma into a cyborg, as we all know, is a little over 2 years. Because right before Luffy's time skip is when the process is complete and Vegapunk turns Kuma into a soulless robot. As he starts putting together the research for it, Vegapunk starts complaining to himself, I wish someone was writing down these ideas. Oh, I just got another aha moment. I don't have time to write that down, though. I'm starting to get really mad. I wish I could punch something. I really need to go to the bathroom. I wish someone could do that for me, too. Geez, I really wish there were 5 more of me. And then he made 6, which is interesting, because Vegapunk is the smartest man in the world. Oda made that out clear to us. Oda also loves foreshadowing and callbacks and other little useful storytelling tropes, which is fine. The question on my mind, dearest Oda, Vegapunk made 6 more of himself in the future because you wrote that future. So the real question to me is, why did you have him say 5? Who among the Vegapunks is not actually a Vegapunk? That's the real question. Anyways, so you can take that theory with you, go wherever you want with it. I have like a light stand here. I don't know if that's in the way, but I keep accidentally hitting it, so I'm just going to move that real quick. But Vegapunk sets off to, figure out how to heal Bonnie. Cut to a wonderful little montage. We got Kuma sleeping, he's got Bonnie sleeping on his belly, the 2 of them are snoring together. We got them running around the laboratory, Sentomaru playing with Bonnie, as much to Sentomaru's chagrin. We have the crew of the Vegapunk group, I guess, dancing to the beat of Nika's heartbeat. And then, my opinion, this scene of them all eating pizza together, it simultaneously fills me with such warmth, but also breaks my heart. Because Sentomaru's going to have to choose between his best friend Borsellino, his uncle Borsellino, and Vegapunk, the man who raised him and kept him safe. And you know that Borsellino effectively betrays all these people that he spends a year and a half with. It's heartbreaking. It's horrible. And it makes me wonder what decisions Kizaru is going to make once we hit back to the regular timeline. But the time passes and Bonnie is cured, and Bonnie is brought back to the Sorbet Kingdom. A part of the promise between Saturn and Kuma was, yes, Bonnie will effectively be your hostage until I become a soulless automaton, but a stipulation on my end, I'm Bartholomew Kuma, I get to make choices too here. You need to let her grow up in the place she grew up in. You need to let her go back to Sorbet Kingdom. You're not going to keep her in some government holding cell. You can send the most vicious cipher pull agents to look at her and keep an eye on her if you want. But don't make her think she's a prisoner. Bonnie deserves to be happy. And that's fair. Saturn's totally down for it. He says, okay, but if you go to Sorbet Kingdom, we will take her back and we will make her a slave, which is the biggest threat you can do to Kuma. He totally understands. He goes home to Sorbet. He drops her off. We meet Cypherpole Agent 8, Agent Alpha. Alpha looks a lot like Calipha. It kind of makes sense. They both sound the same. Alpha, Calipha. Maybe it's Calipha's mother. Although, maybe it's Calipha's sister. Because timeline-wise, Calipha would be a full-grown woman by now. So, maybe it's her twin sister. Or just a sister. Maybe an older sister. Or maybe a mother. I don't know. Women age differently in One Piece than men. Sometimes the men in One Piece become muscular gods of, chiseled abs like Whitebeard. And then others become little old dudes like Whoop Slap. So, I don't know. Aging works differently in One Piece. But Alpha gives a really decent threat to Kuma, reminding him, how easily she could kill Bonnie, and Kuma's just like, look, I get it. Oh, look at me, I'm the scary Cypherpole agent. I know you gotta do that. So sure, yeah, you've intimidated me. I'm not coming back. I'm a man of my word. I'm not the bad guy here. We both know that. So, and Kuma sets off, and he actually, it's really cute. His Jolly Roger for his pirate crew, because we've never seen it, is actually a drawing that Bonnie made of him that said, he's got a little drawing with the daddy written on it. It's really cute. So that became his Jolly Roger as he sails the seas as the new warlord of the sea, Bartholomew Kuma, otherwise known as Kuma the Tyrant. And we actually see every warlord's reaction to this. We see Mihawk just looking at the newspaper, Miss All Sunday, aka Nico Robin, talking to Crocodile about it. Ace is talking to Jinbei. He's like, hey, Jinbei, look, they finally replaced the warlord that I beat up senselessly. And Jinbei goes, yes, Ace, I know. I'm reading the newspaper. You're a little behind on the time. My favorite is Moria's response, where Perona's got the newspaper, and Moria's just like, he's got a paw power? His power is paws? Like little kitty bear paws? What kind of power is that? And Perona's just got the newspaper. She's like, but it says he's a warlord, though. That's a decent, all the same, okay, all right. Hancock doesn't care because she's never going to go to Marine HQ anyway, so what does she care? She's never going to meet the other warlords. Although, I wonder how Hancock would respond if she heard of a female warlord getting added. Because, I'm pretty sure she's the only female warlord. Unless the crocodile theory is true. So that's how every warlord responds to Kuma becoming another warlord. It does raise the question of who was the warlord before him, and I'm sure we're going to get an SBS about that soon, because obviously a lot of people are going to write letters to Oda saying, hey, can you at least draw us a picture of the warlord? And then it'll be some goofy little guy with maybe a papaya sticking out of his hair and just being like, I am the warlord that Ace defeated. Yeah. After this, Bartholomew Kuma writes a loving letter to his daughter because, he's been sending her letters every day, I assume. Giving it to a news coup, sending it off. I wonder if Bonnie actually gets the letters. I know cipher pull agents aren't the nicest people in the world, but if you don't give Bonnie the impression that her dad's alive, she's gonna start looking for him. So I would assume the letters at least get to her. After this, though, he gets a message from the government saying, Kuma, we have a mission for you. And he says, okay. And they say, where are you right now? And he says, I am in the East Blue, as he is looking right at Windmill Village, where Luffy lives. Currently, since it's been, a year and a half since Bonnie, it's been a year and a half since Bonnie's cure began. So now she's at the Sorbet Kingdom. So this is 6 months before Bonnie turns 12. And this is, 10, before Bonnie turns 10. She's 12 currently. This is 6 months before Bonnie turns 10. Which means this is roughly around the time Luffy sets out to sea. Where Luffy, finishes his training. What happened in those 6 months? What happens in the Goa Kingdom, in Windmill Village? Does Shanks fight Kuma? That might be interesting. Whatever the reason, Luffy has his devil fruit right now, and Kuma might have a chance to meet the sun god Nika before Nika even knew he had a devil fruit. Or before Nika even knew he was Nika. Well, actually, Luffy still doesn't know. Luffy still firmly believes he is a Paramecia type. I'm interested to see what happens. I'm hoping it's going to be something heartwarming because, man, we have just been through a roller coaster of sad and happy. So I'm hoping we end on a positive note because, what's left to think about? We know Kuma becomes a soulless robot, so there's no worry on that one. And I still believe Kuma's soul is currently sitting in Egghead Island and is going to be put into his Seraphim, but that's just my opinion. So what's your opinions? That's the usual question at the end of these things. Let me know what you think of this week's chapter, because I'm interested to see where things go, and I cannot wait for next week, because now Luffy is involved once again and doesn't even know it. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, axing out.